I am going to narrate the story of the Ugly Duckling. It was a warm summer's day. The wheat fields were golden, the oats were green, and the hay stood in great stacks in the green meadows. All around the meadows and cornfields grew thick woods, and in the midst of the forest was a deep lake. A mother duck had her nest hidden in the long grass, safe from weasels and the fox. She sat on her eggs, waiting for the eggs to hatch. Finally, the eggs hatched with a pop sound, and beep beep appeared a bunch of golden ducklings. "Quack, quack," said the mother with joy. The mother duck was so happy to see her ducklings. But the largest egg in the nest was still there. The mother duck didn't remember laying such a huge egg, so she again sat on the big egg and waited for it to hatch. Suddenly, the large egg cracked open. But the baby bird was big, grey, and ugly. He had huge feet and a broad beak and didn't look like a duckling. The duck was surprised to see this duckling. A few days later, the weather was delightful. The sun shone brightly on the green burdock leaves, and the mother duck took her whole family down to the water and jumped in with a splash. "Quack, quack, 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 quack," cried her little ones, and one after the other, the little ducklings jumped in. The water closed over their heads, but they came up again in an instant and swam about quite prettily, with their legs paddling under them as easily as possible. Their legs went of their own accord. The grey duckling was also in the water, swimming with them. Other ducklings didn't like him, as he was ugly. After a great swim, the duck family waddled through to the yard. As the grey duckling entered the yard, all the birds started talking about him. Every day, he was pecked and pushed by ducks, and even by the chickens. The grey duckling was bullied very badly in the yard by the other birds. One day, the poor ugly duckling couldn't take it anymore, so he ran far away from his home. At last, he ended up in a swamp where only wild ducks lived. The wild ducks told him, "You're an ugly fellow. You cannot stay here. You can never belong to our flock. Go away." The duckling moved away from those ducks. The poor duckling felt very lonely. He didn't even move from that place. As it was winter, the water was so cold, and he got stuck in the swamp as it froze. In the morning, a farmer who came that way saw the frozen duckling. He rescued the duckling and took him to his house. But the duckling was terrified on seeing that he was in a stranger's house. He fluttered into the milk vessel and splashed it all over the room. The farmer's wife got furious and chased him out into the cold. The duckling went back to the swamp. He spent a long and lonely winter struggling to survive. He neither had friends nor family to take care of him. At last, the snow melted away. It was spring, and the duckling was big and stronger than before. He flew high in the air and he landed by a lovely lake. Magnificent, white and graceful swans were swimming in the lake. The ugly duckling thought that if the swans see him, they will also make fun of his appearance. He was ashamed of himself and bowed his head low. When he bent his head, he saw his reflection in the water and was astonished. His ugly feathers were now snowy white. His neck was curved and slender. He had grown into a handsome swan. The other swans came towards him and stroked him with their beaks. Nearby children shouted with joy at the sight of him and threw him some breadcrumbs. He felt very happy to be with his friends. That's the end. For more such interesting stories, please subscribe to our channel, Tell Stories.